The dim glow of monitors illuminated Elon Musk's private headquarters at SpaceX, a room filled with the quiet hum of advanced machinery. Tonight marked the beginning of a new era. Neuralink, his most revolutionary creation yet, was ready for its first true test, a fully immersive, AI-driven mental simulation that could reconstruct the minds of history's greatest thinkers. Elon took a deep breath, adjusting the Neuralink helmet on his head. The moment he initiated the program, a cascade of holographic profiles appeared before him. Newton, Tesla, Da Vinci, Einstein, each one a titan of thought, a master of intellect. Yet, for reasons even he couldn't explain, his gaze locked onto one name: Socrates. With a simple thought, he selected the ancient philosopher. The system responded instantly. A surge of energy pulsed through his mind. His vision blurred, his consciousness stretched, pulled across time and space. He felt his body dissolve, his reality shatter. And then, a warm breeze, the scent of olive trees, the distant murmur of voices. Elon opened his eyes. He was no longer in his high-tech command center. He was standing in the heart of ancient Athens. Marble columns stretched toward a sky bathed in golden sunlight. The grand agora buzzed with the chatter of merchants, philosophers, and scholars. The air smelled of dust and parchment, of history itself. Elon turned, expecting to feel the weight of control over this simulation. After all, he had built it. He should be able to alter it, command it, direct it, but he couldn't. His body moved on its own. His feet followed an unseen force, carrying him across the bustling square. A sensation gnawed at him. This was not a simple simulation. This felt real. And then, he saw him. Socrates sat alone on a stone bench, clad in a simple tunic, his eyes sharp and knowing, as if he had been expecting Elon all along. A wry smile played on the philosopher's lips. "Come closer," Socrates beckoned. Elon stepped forward, his voice steady, but inside he wrestled with unease. "Socrates, I am from the future. I came to test your wisdom." The philosopher chuckled, his eyes filled with a piercing intellect. "Did you come to test me or to discover your own ignorance?" Elon felt an unexpected chill. He was the creator of this system. Yet something about Socrates felt beyond the simulation. The philosopher's gaze was not that of a programmed entity. It was real. For the first time in his life, Elon Musk felt something he had not anticipated. Doubt. This was not going as he expected. And something told him this was only the beginning. Elon Musk stood in front of Socrates, the warm air of ancient Athens swirling around him. The hum of the agora was distant, almost unreal. He still couldn't shake the unsettling feeling. He was not in control. His own voice broke the silence. "Socrates, do you know what I heard about your friend?" Elon blinked, startled at his own words. Who was Socrates' friend? He had no idea. He hadn't meant to say that, but the simulation had a force of its own. Socrates, seated with the calmness of an eternal thinker, smiled knowingly and raised a hand. "Before you tell me," Socrates said, "I will ask you 3 questions." Elon felt a strange pull, as if something important was about to unfold. Socrates leaned forward, his piercing gaze cut through the space between them. "First, are you sure what you're going to say is true?" Elon hesitated. True? He had just heard it, but he wasn't sure. "No, I just heard it." Socrates nodded, unfazed. "Second, is what you are going to tell me something good?" Elon's mind searched for an answer. "No, actually, it is bad." Socrates smiled again, as if he expected this response. "Third, will it do me any good?" Elon bit his lip. What was the point of saying it then? "Actually, no." Socrates leaned back, the sun catching in his deep-set eyes. "If it is not true, nor good, nor useful, then why are you telling me about it?" The words hung in the air like an unshakable law. Elon's mind reeled. This was wisdom, not just programmed philosophy. This was something more. "Before you speak, You must pass your words through 3 filters: truth, goodness, benefit. Elon felt the weight of the lesson settle into his chest. He smiled, absorbing it. That's why they call you wise, he admitted, then added, but may I ask you, O wise man, why do they consider you the wisest person in Athens? Socrates chuckled softly, his expression unreadable. Maybe because I am the only one who realizes that he doesn't know everything. Elon nodded, a realization dawning on him. Admitting ignorance is the first step to wisdom. But something inside him pushed further. He had to test this simulation, test Socrates himself. "Oh, wise man," Elon asked, "how do I become wise like you?" Socrates tilted his head, as if studying Elon more deeply than before. Then, without a word, he gestured for Elon to follow. They walked through the agora, past merchants and scholars, until they reached a river that flowed calmly outside the city. The water shimmered under the sunlight. Before Elon could react, Socrates grabbed him by the head and shoved him underwater. Panic. Elon struggled, his body fighting for air. His hands clawed at Socrates' arm, but the philosopher held him there for a few more agonizing moments. Then, he let go. Elon burst out of the water, gasping, coughing, his lungs burning. He turned to Socrates, angry, bewildered. "Why did you do that?" Socrates simply laughed, his voice as calm as the river. "When you desire wisdom as desperately as you just desired air, then you will find it." Elon stood there, drenched, his mind spinning. "But that was harsh," Socrates shrugged. "Success requires a strong desire, like your need for air." Elon froze. For the first time, he realized something shocking. This wasn't just a lesson, this was a test, and he had no idea who or what was truly running it. The soft murmur of the river accompanied the 2 men as they stood in silence. Elon Musk, drenched and thoughtful, and Socrates, as serene as the flowing water. The weight of their conversation lingered in the air, but Elon's eyes wandered downward, catching an odd detail. Socrates' shoe. It was old, worn, barely holding together. It looked far too tight for his foot, yet the philosopher carried himself with no sign of discomfort. Before Elon could comment, a man came running toward them, his breath heavy with urgency. "I was looking for you, Socrates," the man exclaimed. Socrates turned to him with an amused expression. "Tell me what you have." The man took a deep breath. "I want to get married." "Do you advise me to get married?" Socrates chuckled, his lips curling into a teasing smile. "If you marry a good wife, you will be happy. If you marry a bad wife, you will become a philosopher like me." Elon burst into laughter. Even in ancient Athens, humor had its place. The man, lost in thought for a moment, then nodded. "What you say is true. Thank you, wise man." But just as he was about to leave, he hesitated, then turned back. There was something else on his mind. "I am sorry to bother you, wise man, but I have always wanted to ask you something." He pointed at Socrates' foot. "Why don't you change your old shoe? It looks tight and uncomfortable." Elon leaned in, curious about how the great philosopher would answer such a mundane question. Socrates gave a knowing smile. "I got used to it, and if I change it, it will take me a long time to get used to the new one. So why should I tire myself out?" Elon paused. It was a simple answer, yet it carried an unexpected depth. Sometimes being content with life is better than endlessly searching for perfection. A sharp alarm cut through the air. Elon froze. It was the simulation end alarm. Everything around him trembled. The sunlight wavered. The river blurred. The world itself seemed to be unraveling. Elon turned to Socrates, his time running out. "Thank you, wise man. It's time for me to leave." But before departing, a final question lingered in his mind. "Tell me, Socrates, who is the richest man in Athens?" He expected a direct answer, perhaps the name of a powerful merchant or noble, but Socrates, as always, had a different perspective. With a gentle smile, he replied, "It is he who is satisfied with what he has, not he who has more." Elon smiled. Indeed, this was the wisdom he had studied, read, and heard about all his life, and now he had lived it. The world around him vanished. The agora, the river, the ancient city, all faded into nothingness. And then, Elon Musk opened his eyes. He was back in his headquarters, the Neuralink helmet still on his head, the monitors flickering with data. The simulation had ended, but the lessons remained. Elon leaned back, exhaling deeply. This had not been just a test. It had been something more. As he removed the helmet, one thought lingered in his mind. Perhaps wisdom is not in knowing more, but in understanding what truly matters. And with that, he smiled, for he had just met the greatest thinker of all time.